Hello everyone, this is Rishabh and welcome to the another video of your Azure interview question series. So today we are going to talk about the few questions that could be asked to you on the Azure interview. So we'll be going ahead and rather than giving you very conventional, traditional, by the book answer, I will try to explain those concepts in layman term. I will not be giving the some answer that you are sitting on the interview and you're babbling those very point to point specific bookish definition. No, I will be just showing you thing around. I will be just trying to explain those concepts. If you got those concepts, that's good. I hope you will be learning a lot of things with us. So let's just start with this Azure interview question series. This is Rishabh Kotial, your Azure buddy, and don't forget to click subscribe, like this particular channel, which is our InfosecTrain. We'll be bringing more good technical videos for you guys. So let's just start today's session. Okay, so moving on this Azure interview series, our next question is what are roles and responsibility of an Azure administrator? So we already know that what is the Azure administrator. Okay, now what are their rules and responsibilities? So we'll be seeing like what they do on the daily basis here. Okay, so simply as the Azure administrator, the responsibility for that particular person is usually going to lying around that administrator has to manage the infrastructure, Azure infrastructure that has been deployed by the particular organization according to their requirement. So usually the task for the administrator is going to be monitor it if it is still following your defined categories, rules, regulations. Even if there is the requirement of deploying new resources that should be handled properly, creating or dealing with them. So creating them, dealing with them, handling the day-to-day activity. So you, as the Azure administrator, your responsibility is going to be to implement, monitor, and maintain all the Azure defined solutions and services. And those services are going to include things like your storage, your compute, your virtual network, different cloud environments, right? If some additional task would be to go ahead and just simply adjust the different resource, scale them, they change their size and all that kind of thing. And the official the reference as answer that you can refer to right now is the administrator is responsible for executing, monitoring, and maintaining Microsoft Azure solution and providing significant service related to the computing, network, security, and storage. Okay, Azure Administrator are going to manage the different solution for the VM, virtual hard disk, database, user data, and application data, all those kind of things. When we are talking about the day-to-day task, few things that will be helping an Azure Administrator is that first of all, as an Azure Administrator, you should be having the clear core cloud basic concepts. Then it would be good if you already familiar with the few basic functionalities like networking, right? You are very familiar with the networking, database, okay, concepts like the database, different softwares, and the different servers that we have. Okay, because as a admin, you are going to maintain them, monitor them, and sometimes you may have to deploy them. So what would be the perfect size, or if your organization has rules that size of a VM should be this, so make sure that those rules, those policies are being followed. Okay, so very specific role skills that you will be requiring as a Azure administrator, that is going to be you should be familiar with how to configure the network. Okay, because when you have to deploy the infrastructure, all of that is going to depend on the network. So properly making sure that there are no overlap between the your defined private IP address range. Okay, configure network properly, monitoring the different resources. Monitoring is also important part. Okay, you may be collecting the log, forwarding the log, so those solutions are in place or not. Okay, then deal with your compute resources like VMs and your web apps and all those kind of things, managing the different storage, databases, and you have to sometimes deal with the identity and security as well. Okay, bit of the identity and security part as well, that you are following all the proper appropriate policies, you are following the proper standard mechanism to deploy them, and all the security procedures are in place. And few things that will be helping or giving you edge over the any other is going to be if you are familiar with the bit of the scripting like PowerShell or Bash. That is always coming in handy because there are three ways to manage those platform. There are different way for your administrator to handle the your whole infrastructure. First of all, what that particular user can do is the administrator, what he can do, administrator can simply go ahead and he can use the different scripts like PowerShell scripts. So there are three ways, as I was saying, that there is going to be your portal, Azure portal, there is going to be the Azure CLI, there is going to be your PowerShell, and then there is the Cloud Shell. So actually this Cloud Shell will be in the portal, which can use both these capabilities, CLI and the PowerShell. So using these, administrator can perform their day-to-day tasks. So if you have the bit of the idea regarding them, it is going to be make you more effective Azure administrator. Okay, so in one liner, I can say that an Azure administrator task is to maintain, implement, and monitor your different Azure resources and services like storage, network, your databases, and etc. Okay, so this is the Azure administrator's responsibility. Now let's move on to the next question. So next question is define a virtual machine. And I think it is going to be one of the most easiest question, because not only in the your Azure we are talking about the VM. So we usually talk about the VM in the different places itself. We talk about in maybe in your personal laptop you might have some VM, your virtual tools. Like I personally use the VMware. Okay, maybe you are using the VirtualBox, right, for the virtualization, and we are very much familiar with the concept of the virtual machine. So when we are talking about the virtual machine, it is emulation, you can say, just like the simulation. It is the simulation of a computer system, or you can say that it is the virtualization or emulation of the computer system. It is that VM is going to be based on the computer architecture, and it is going to provide the functionality of an actual physical computer. Okay, and just to add one more point here, that without involving any of the hardware, right? So what I mean by that particular line, so what is a virtual machine? So simply when we are talking about the VM is no different than the any physical computer. Like you have your laptop, you may be having a desktop, you may be having a particular smartphone that is also a kind of a PC, like handheld PC, we can say that. So it has what? It has CPUs, memory, disk to store your files. Okay, even you can connect to the internet, to the different network as well. So same these functionality, okay, is going to have your VM as well. While we are talking about our computer laptop, that what we are holding right now or having right now, that is something that we can simply call a tangible your resource, okay, which you can physically touch. While we are talking about the VM is going to be often thought as a virtual computer, which is software defined computer on any particular physical server existing only as a code. Okay, it is going to have all the features. Even in my VMware, I am having multiple virtual machines, means I'm having my base hardware laptop. Inside that, I'm using a specialized tool, a software, which is giving me the permission that within that same hardware system, I can go ahead and have multiple different kind of the machine which is mimicking or simulating the different kind of the laptop, like they are running on their own hardware. Like if I am having a Kali Linux machine as a VM on my system, it is having all the feature. It is having the CPU, it is having the RAM, means memories and all, it is having the disk to store file and everything. And where it is running on my hardware system, which is running on, let's say that Windows 11, right? It is running on the Windows 11, and still my system is having this one more virtually deployed, a virtual machine which is based a system, a computer that is based on a code, and I can do all the things just like on a hardware system. I am running a Linux, so that is going to be my virtual machine. So simply, virtual machine is going to be your computer system, which is a simulation of a virtual computer system, which can provide you the same functionality as your physical computer. It is based on a computer architecture, but it is a software defined computer which is running on, in the end it should be running in the some physical hardware, but it is existing only as a code. And the reference answer you can read here, that Azure virtual machines are on request computing resource or virtual machine that are defined by the Microsoft Azure. We can normally utilize the VM as a instance when we need to shut down the system and not being used. These are classified under the infrastructure as a service. So yeah, this is one important part that you should be mentioning, that when we are defining in the any cloud solution, right? Like maybe it is Azure or anywhere. So that is going to be your infrastructure as a service. Okay, so simply any resource that is deployed on the cloud solution, so they are just like your on-demand computing resources. So virtual machine in Azure is going to be your on-demand compute resource, which will be falling in the category of infrastructure as a service, where you will be just defining that how much CPU cores you want, what kind of the RAM you want, hard disk you want, storage you want, and you are deploying it. And then you have to maintain it as well, means all the operating system updates and everything will be taken care by you, just like your physical system. So this is going to be your virtual machine. Now let's just move to the next question, which is how will you define the NSG and its creation? So first of all, NSG means your network security group. Now, when we are talking about the network security groups and how we are going to define it and its creation, first let's just look into the reference answer, that it is going to tell you that very standard definition. So you guys can read throughout the these video that what are the reference answer, because I will be explaining them more in depth in simple layman terms. I will try to explain them. So when we are talking about the energy, I always say that NSG is kind of your firewall. Okay, you can think it as the basic firewall, which we can say that stateless kind of firewall as well. Okay, so its task would be simply checking all the inbound and outbound connection. Okay, inbound and the outbound connection, that what kind of the traffic is allowed in the inbound and outbound, okay, to reach out to your Azure virtual machines or any resource where you are attaching the particular energy, or what kind of the traffic is allowed to go out of your particular virtual machine or virtual network itself. Okay, so as the reference answer is saying, that this is a service offered by Energy to help us to allow or deny the explicit port communication with our service inside a subscription or outside the subscription. It has two kind of rule. One is inbound and one is outbound rule. So first of all, you need to understand that NSG, either you can attach it to a virtual machine or either you can attach it to a subnet. Okay, then it will be controlling the traffic on those particular levels. So there are going to be inbound rule, which is going to determine the traffic approaching from the internet towards your VM or a particular service or any VM. Okay, so outbound port rule is going to determine the traffic moving to the internet from our VM to the particular service or VM, right? So that it is going to define, and how it actually looks like, let me just take you to the portal page here. Here, if you will see that this is one of the network security group, there is going to be the inbound security rule, which is defining that whether RDP connections should be allowed or not, which I have allowed on a very specific port. Then these are some of the default inbound rules that are there, which is defining few simple things, that what kind of traffic is allowed and what kind of the traffic is denied. Same goes for your outbound security rule. There are some rule which is defined, and they are defining that what kind of traffic is allowed and what kind of the traffic is not allowed. Now, second part of that question was how you are going to create the particular your NSG, right? So simply we can go to home, click on create resource. Simply you can search for the network security group. Okay, network security group. And we can create it from here. You need to just provide some of the basic details, like your what we the where you want to create it and all those kind of things. So first, let me just click on create. So you'll see you need to give the resource group where you will be deploying it, name of it, region where you want to deploy it, tags, and then simply review and create, and it will be creating your resource. Okay, so you need to fill these values, and some of the very specific characteristics are mentioned here, that what should not be empty and what kind of characters you can use. So this is going to be your network security group. Okay, so if I will open the second page of this answer, reference answer. So in order to create an NSG and associate to your VM, you need to follow these steps. In all service, search for the NSG, provide the name, location, and resource group, click on NSG and create the NSG, which is your network security group. Now, next question is going to be the mention all the power state of a VM. So when we create a VM, there are going to be few states, like whether it is right now in running state, it is in the stopped state, or you can say the your deallocate state. So first of all, we'll be seeing all the different answer here. So there is the one starting, which means right now your virtual machine is being started. Okay, it was deallocated and now you are starting this one. Running is designated that the virtual machine is right now running. So whenever it, like your system was shut down, you just open it. So at that time the system was starting. Now right now currently I'm just demonstrating this particular PPT. So it is running state. Then I want to stop it, so I can go ahead and click on, let's say that even I click on the restart button. So first thing that it is going to do is it's going to stop it, right? So designated that virtual machine is being stopped, and stopped is designated me that the virtual machine is right now stopped from running. It is right now not running, it is in the stopped state. Now deallocating means it is being deallocated, and when we call the deallocated means virtual machine is completely removed from the hypervisor but still available in the control plane, and it did not incur any of the computing charge. Means when we talk about the VMs, or the cloud-based VMs, so they are in the running state, they are in the stopped state, like you just stop them, okay, and they are not deallocated. So and when you click on those stop, it is stopped, and you want to deallocate it, means if it has the temp storage, the data that was in the temp storage, that is going to be removed. Temp means temporary storage. The IP address, if it is not static, it is going to be changed next time when you will be starting that machine one more time. So to just see those few effects in play picture, if I take you to one of my VM, so it is right now in the running state, you can see I don't get this start option. Then when I click on this restart one, it will be just simply going ahead and it will be simply Yeah, first it is stopping the machine, then again starting the machine. Then if I want to deallocate it, I will click on this stop button. Do you want to stop the add VM? I'll be saying the yes, I want to stop this particular VM. And you will see in few minutes it would be deallocating your VM itself. Okay, so it will be taking a bit of the time. Right now it is in the deallocating state. Okay, it is stopping the virtual machine, and yeah, it will be going ahead and then deallocating it, right? So status is right now, you can see here, deallocating. You can read it here, and then it will be deallocated, right? So these are the few different states of your virtual machines. So thank you for joining us. I hope you learned some new thing through our sessions, and we will be bringing more question in this series. We will be bringing more concept to you through our InfosecTrain channel in the YouTube. So make sure you are liking it, subscribing it, share it with all the person who need to learn new concept. Your family, your friend who want to improve their knowledge, they are looking for any job change or anything, they want to do the certificate, bring them to this particular channel. We will try to help them. And if you have more doubt, you want to do the certification, corporate training, just contact us on this particular detail itself, and you can visit our website. We'll be helping you out. You can contact me on my LinkedIn using the same name, Rishabh Kotial, and you can, I'll be helping you over there as well. So be safe, be energetic, keep learning, keep everyone around you safe, and best of luck for your future. So we'll see you in our next video.